Hello, my dear children and parents. Welcome to Indus Valley Public School RAT e-learning classes. Class 9th, where we were doing a lesson from your moments, and the name of the lesson is The Happy Prince, written by Oscar Wilde. In this story, we have seen a happy prince and a bird swallow. The prince was very happy when he was alive, as there was no sorrow, no sadness in his kingdom. All the people in his kingdom were very happy. But after his death, when his highest statue was put on in the middle of the kingdom, then he was able to see the sadness, the sorrow of the people, and he was very unhappy and helpless. Suddenly, a bird swallow came to him, who helped the king in order to get rid of the sorrowness, sadness of the people. By the bird, he was able to give the precious gems that was fixed in his statue to the needy people, and he was very happy. Now, moving to the review from the video 2. So, Prince said that it was very sad that he did not have any more ruby stone with him. So he ordered the swallow to give to the writer his sapphire, which was acting as the eyes for the happy prince, so that he can complete his task. Next night, the swallow again flew back to Happy Prince to bid goodbye, but the prince again requested to stay with him for one more day. This time he wanted to help the match girl, as all her matchsticks had fallen in the gutter, that is sewage, and got wet. So she would go home without money. Then her father would get angry and beat her. For this reason the girl was crying. So he said to the swallow to take out another sapphire from his eyes and give it to her, so that her father did not beat her. The swallow refused to do so, but finally he took and gave to the girl. When Swallow returned to the happy prince, he told him that now he was blind, and so he would stay with him forever. So now Bird is going to stay with the king forever, as both the sapphire, which was acting as the eye for the statue, the happy prince, were given to the needy people. The swallow used to stay long with Happy Prince all the time and used to tell him the stories of different places that he had visited. The swallow that the rich people were living happily in their beautiful houses, and they were partying while the poor people were begging and sitting outside the gates. Then he went to the dark lanes where there were no lights. Also the poor people lived. The children were hungry, due to which their faces had turned white. Further, the swallow saw two little boys under the archway of the bridge, who were lying much close to each other to keep themselves warm. They were so poor they did not have food. A watchman scolded them and asked them to go home, but poor were homeless. Hearing this, the happy prince told Swallow that his whole body was covered with fine gold. He could take tiny pieces of gold from his body and give it to the poor people in need. All the living beings required money. When they would get gold, they would feel happy. Okay? So now, he is only left, means the happy prince is only left with the golden cover, which was acting as a dress for him. So now he is asking to give that golden dress to the people who are in need. So now coming to the next stanza, paragraph. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off, till the happy prince looked quite dull and grey. So what happened? Slowly, the swallow took out the gold layer from the statue of the happy prince. As he removed the layer of the gold, the happy prince statue started looking very dull and grey, means ugly. It was not looking as beautiful as it was. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor, and the children's face rose there, and they laughed and played in the street. We have bread now, they cried. So as the statue of the happy prince started looking dull and grey, the children grew happier because through it they were getting food to eat. Now the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The street looked as if they were made of silver. Everybody went in fur, and the little boys wore scarlet caps and skated on the ice. So what happened? Finally, the snow was coming on the street, and when a lot of snow fell, everything looks like frozen. Okay, so everywhere ice was covered. So everyone was wearing clothes made of fur. Small children were wearing red color caps. Scarlet means red color caps, and were roaming here and there. They were skating on the ice. Okay. Now, next paragraph. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he could not leave the prince. He loved him too well. So now what happened? Swallow bird was feeling very cold, but he kept on sitting near the happy prince statue. He did not want to leave him because the swallow, the bird, loved the prince too much. He loved the prince so much that he did not want to leave him at any case, even though the swallow was getting cold. He picked up crumbs outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking, and tried to keep himself warm by flapping his wings. So bird did not want to die. He wanted to live alive. So what he did, he used to go to the bakery where the baker used to bake the bread, to eat the bread crumbs. Crumbs means a piece of small pieces of bread. And tried to keep himself warm by flapping his wings. So the bird was trying to move up and down his wings in order to keep himself warm. But at last he knew that he was going to die. He had just enough strength to fly up to the prince's shoulders once more. So what happened? The swallow was aware. He was knowing that he is about to die. So only the strength that was left with him, that he can fly to the statue of happy prince and could say, "Goodbye, dear prince," he murmured. "Will you let me kiss your hand?" So the strength that the swallow was having, that he can fly and go near to the happy prince statue's shoulders and can say goodbye to him and can present his desire to kiss his hand. "I'm glad that you are going to Egypt at last, little swallow," said the prince. So now prince is saying that, like, he was not aware that the bird is about to die. Then happy prince thought that the swallow wanted to go to Egypt. So he said that he was happy that finally the bird was going to Egypt. "You have stayed too longer here, but you must kiss on my lips, for I love you." So now he is saying that, happy prince, to the swallow, that that the bird had stayed there with him for a very long time, and now it should go to Egypt. It wanted the bird to kiss its lips instead of the hand, because the statue, the happy prince, loved the bird too much, because he had given him company in order to get rid of the sadness that he was seeing in his kingdom. "It is not to Egypt that I am going," said the swallow. "I am going to the house of death. Death is the brother of sleep, is he not?" So now the swallow said to the prince that he is not going to Egypt, but to the house of death. And he added that death was a brother of sleep. Next paragraph. "And he kissed the happy prince on the lips and fell down dead at his feet." So now what happened? Swallow kissed the lip of the statue and fell down to the feet of happy prince and died. At that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue. as if something had broken. The fact is that the leaden heart had snapped it right in two. It certain was a dreadfully hard frost. Snapped means broken, dreadfully means extremely. So now what happened? As soon as the bird died on the happy prince's feet, a sudden sound came out from the statue. The sound was of the breaking of the statue's heart that was made up of lead. The heart broke because the death of his beloved bird. But it is said that it was so cold that the heart broke into two pieces. Early the next morning, the mayor was walking in the square below in the company of with the two councillors. So now what happened? Next day, he was walking. The mayor of the society or mayor of the kingdom came, and he was having two councillors with him. As they passed, he looked up at the statue. "Dear me, how shabby the happy prince looks," he said. Shabby means untidy. So what happened? As in the next morning, the mayor of the city, along with his councillor, was taking a round to the area where the statue of the happy prince was put up or erected. And when he crossed the statue and looked up at it, he said that the statue of happy prince is looking very untidy. "How shabby, indeed," cried the town councillor, who always agreed with the mayor, and they went up to look it at. So the councillor, they always agree with whatever the mayor used to say. So they also declared that the statue looked untidy. "The ruby has fallen out of his sword, his eyes are gone, and he is golden no longer," said the mayor. "In fact, he is a little better than beggar." So now what happened? The mayor noticed that there was a ruby stone which was placed in the handle of the sword was missing. The sapphire from the statue's eyes were also missing, and the layer of the gold from his body was also missing. So he noticed everything. In fact, he's a little better than a beggar. "Little better than a beggar," said the councillor. So the mayor said that it seemed as if it was the statue of a beggar, and the two councillors also agreed with him. They also said the same thing as the mayor said. Now, next. "And here is actually a dead bird at his feet," continued the mayor. "We must really issue a proclamation that birds are not to be allowed to die here." Proclamations means rules, orders. Okay. So now, and the town clerk made a note of the suggestions. So now what happened? The mayor noticed that a dead bird was also lying on the feet of the statue. Then he told the town councillors to pass an order that birds were not allowed to die on the feet of the statue. And town clerk made a note of suggestions given by him. So they pulled down the statue of the happy prince. "As he is no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful," said the art professor at the university. So now the art professor of the university said that now the statue of the happy prince did not look beautiful and was not useful anymore. So what to do? So they demolished it. They destroyed it. They tried to burn it. Then they melted the statue in a furnace. So furnace means it is a fireplace where metal are melted. Okay. So what happened? So they started burn the statue. "What a strange thing," said the overseers of a workman at the foundry. So foundry means, overseas means superior person, and foundry, workshop for casting metal. This is a factory area, you can say. Okay. The supervisors of the foundry saw a strange thing. What was the strange thing? Let's see. "This broken lead heart will not melt in the furnace. We must throw it away. So they threw it on a dust heap where the dead swallow was also lying. So what was the strange thing that they found? That the heart of the happy prince statue, which was broken into two pieces, was not melting in the furnace. So they threw it as it was in the dust heap. That heart was not melting, so they thrown that heart on the heap where too much dust was there. So they have thrown that heart there. And coincidentally, they threw the heart of the happy prince where the dead swallow was also lying. So heart and the dead bird, they were together at the end also. Bring me two most precious thing in the city, said God to one of his angels. And angel brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird. So what happened? Now God asked one of his angels to bring him the two most precious thing of the city. The angel brought two pieces of heart of the statue and the dead swallow. So what the angel brought? The angel brought two pieces of the heart of the statue and the dead swallow. Then you have rightly chosen, said God, for in my garden of paradise this little bird shall sing for ever more than in my city of gold. The happy prince shall praise me. So now what a paradise is heaven or ecstasy. That means a very pious place, you can say. Okay. So now God said to the angel that it had brought the right things. It had chosen the right things, which were indeed the most precious things of the city. He said that the bird would always sing in the garden of his paradise, and the happy prince would stay in his city of gold and admire him. Okay, so bird will sing in the paradise of the heaven, okay, in the pious place of the heaven, and the singing would be admired by the happy prince. This is what's said by the God. So here we end with the lesson. Okay, go through the explanation. Any doubt, we'll discuss in our online classes, or you can call me up any point of time. Okay, so go through all the three videos, video 1, video 2, video 3 of the lesson. In the next video, I'll provide you with the question answers. Okay, so till then, my dear children, thank you so much. Take care and bye-bye.